Everybody, welcome in this fourth episode of JavaScript for Beginners. Today we're going to talk about loops. What are loops? Loops are structures that enable us to repeat certain lines of code multiple times. So let's say you want to repeat something 100 times. You could write that line of code 100 times or use a loop, which is what we're going to learn today. There's multiple types of loops. There is for loops, while loops, do while loops, and many more. But in this video, we'll just cover these three types. So let's get started. Okay, so here I have my VS Code on the left and my console on the right. And let's get started. First thing first, let's get a grasp on for loops. So let's say I have let's type in console.log 1, then 2, then 3. And as you can see, 1, 2, and 3 shows up. But I had to write 3 lines of code to do that. What if I wanted to go to 100? Would I type 100 lines of code? Well, I could do that, but there is some more efficient ways to do this. Let's try using a for loop for the same example I used here. The console log numbers from 1 to 3. So to build a for loop, we need to use the keyword for, and then between parentheses we need to first give it some initial values, such as a var I equals to 1, so from where we want to start, a condition for the loop to keep running, so let's say until I is less or equal to 3, and the last condition or statement is how much we want to increment after every step. So let's say I plus plus. Plus plus means that the variable I increases by 1. So if in the first step it was 1, the second step will be 2, and the third step will be 3. So if I type here console.log I and delete this, as you can see, it shows up in the console like I did before. And I can play with this. I can put it like I is less or equal to 10, and it goes way up to 10. And that's just one line of code. We can play with this, but instead of going up by 1, we can go up by 2, and this will print all odd numbers, as you can see. And if we want even numbers, we can start at 2 and then each step increment by 2. Alright, that was for loops. Let's get to while loops down here. Actually, let's delete this. So while loops have their own keyword, which is while, and between parentheses we have our condition for the loop to keep running. So let's say I is less or equal to 10, and that's it. Then we have curly braces, and let's declare this I here, var I is equal to 0. So we have a variable I, and until that variable is less or equal to 10, we want the console.log I. Right? But if I save this, now the loop will go on infinitely many times. Let's save this, and oh, it doesn't even run, because after each step we want to increment our I, otherwise it just stays at 0 and our loop will go on forever. Now I don't know why this stopped working. Let me try to fix it. Alright, I fixed it, so now everything works. As you can see, we printed out numbers from 0 to 10 with our while loop. So this while first checks our condition and then just repeats the code and this until this condition is false. Right? We can do so many things with this, such as in a game, while our character is in the air, it can't jump again. So our condition in that game would be if here, and it says if it's in the air. If it's not in the air, then it can jump again. So let's move on to do-while loops. Do-while loops are very similar to while loops, but they have some different structure. They look like this. We use the do keyword, and then have curly braces, and at the end we have again a while statement. So let's put the condition again. I is less or equal to 10. And if we console that log I, we and increment each step. Oh, don't tell me it crashed again. And we're back again. Alright. So yeah, if we don't put the increment, it just crashes and we can't do anything about it. So I was saying the only difference between do and while loops are that in the do while, the code between our brackets executes at least once the first time. Then it checks for the condition, and then if it's true, it will loop again. But it will do it once in either case. Let's learn about some keywords that we can use in our loops. Let's write the for loop we had at the beginning. So let me delete this. Var I is 1, I is lesser or equal to 10, I plus plus. Oh, and let me close this. There you go. So if I console.log I, nothing changes. But if I put the condition such as if I'm back. So as I was saying, we can put here a condition for our I to be, let's say, 3. So if our I is equal to 3, we want to break. So this, when we reach our break statement, the loop will stop. So at 3, it stops, right? That's what the break keyword does. There is another keyword which is continue, and if we change this to continue, so at I is equal to 3 we continue, then we skip over. Actually, I should put this before we console.log things. So if our I is equal to 3, then we skip over all the code under it and we go to the next step. As you can see, we printed 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. So it skipped over 3. Alright, that was pretty much it for loops. So let's recap what we've learned. We've learned about for loops, while loops, do while loops, and the break keyword and the continue keyword. So that was it for this video. In the next one, we're going to learn about functions and how to use them. Thank you for watching.